Alright, what's up YouTube? Your boy CryptoTone coming at ya with another video. So, the dickening. What is the dickening? Basically, the dickening is the countdown to when Mr. McAfee has to eat a cock meat sandwich, basically. So, McAfee came out recently on another interview, basically where he said now 2 million Bitcoin prediction is his new prediction for 2020, end of 2020. He's saying basically mathematics will be flawed if it didn't happen. Now, I do have a McAfee interview coming up on this channel. It's actually supposed to happen today, but unfortunately he had to reschedule, which is fine. So whenever it happens is when it happens. But what I'm really curious to know is why 2 million Bitcoin by 2020 or the end of 2020? That's what I really want to know, because a lot of the things that I'm seeing here are basically just it has to go to X price by XD. But there's really no reason why. It's just, well, mathematics will be flawed if it isn't to get there. So I want to know the real reason why it needs to get there by that particular time. Now, as you guys know, in the past, McAfee has been pretty right on his predictions. Back in 2017, I believe he said it was going to be 10,000 by the end of the year. And of course, it went even higher to 20,000. So maybe because that was a double, he thinks that, well, instead of a million now, let's just say 2 million, because that's a double right there. Now, in order for us to get to at least 1 million here on this particular website, Burrcoin.top, which is the McAfee price prediction tracker, we're basically 93% below where we need to be by the end of 2020. Currently, it's predicting 122,000 and not 1 million. And the actual value right now is 7,400. So we have to go up astronomically in order for us to get to where McAfee is saying we're going to go within that particular time frame. Now, is this realistic is the question. So we're going to get into a few things here on this article that I found from CN Network. And it's 5 reasons why McAfee's $2 million Bitcoin prediction may not be so crazy. So, 1, Bitcoin scarcity will lead to price surge. So basically, there's only 21 million coins. We all know that. 7 million have already been lost or stolen. Now, I've heard 4 million, 5 million. I've never heard 7 million before. So that means there's like, I don't know, 13, 14 million Bitcoin left out there. I've spoken to a lot of people that have told me, Tone, I got into crypto in 2012. My friend got me into it. He sent me like 10,000 Bitcoin at one time. They're lost forever. I lose sleep every night, yada, yada. I hear these stories all the time. So it's not shocking or to my surprise that people have lost their coins. But the main question that I have is not that Bitcoin won't get to $1 million or 2 million in this case, because I believe it will over time based on scarcity, but why the end of 2020? I think we need to really ask that question. I don't think enough people are. So, $2 trillion plus institutional investment dollars. So Bakkt's launch has been dire so far. We all know that. But that doesn't mean things will continue this way. Institutional investors are likely stalling due to the uncertain regulatory climate in the United States. So that makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, maybe they're not stalling. Maybe they're just buying at the bottom. And then when the regulatory clarity comes through, which will it ever? I don't know. Maybe they'll be a little more susceptible to pump up the price of Bitcoin. But for now, the whales are just dumping the shit on our heads and they're picking up more. However, according to data from Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, there are currently some $2.14 trillion parked in institutional money funds right now, just looking to find a home. So maybe Bitcoin could be the home for them, because it's like the hardest money that's ever been created, right? I mean, there's a cap on it. There's not even a cap on gold or silver or platinum or any of this other shit. There is a cap on Bitcoin, which makes a lot of people wildly bullish just based on that fact and based on the simple fact that it's never been hacked. So 3, Bitcoin halving is in May. As you guys know, in May, that's less than 7 months away, we're going to get the halving. And typically when the halving comes up, we get a price bump, right? So basically mining rewards are going to get cut in half And theoretically, we should see that price move up. So the next Bitcoin halving is in May 2020. This event will hack the mining reward down to half. Looking back at historical patterns, Bitcoin price tends to boom about a year after previous halving. That may leave McAfee's $2 million Bitcoin prediction out of time by the end of 2020. So when we mooned in 17, that was a year after the halving happened. So potential that McAfee is going to be eating his dick, in my opinion, is probably not going to happen just because of the fact that who the fuck would do that? And I know he did come out and say, like, he's going to have these, like, prostitutes do it or he's going to subcontract it, which I guess that's another story. But my prediction would be that it would happen a year after the halving, or at least go to $100,000 like Anthony Pompliano said. Could be a little conservative, honestly, but definitely more likely than 2 million in my opinion. So 4, governments holding Bitcoin in central bank reserves. So starting with Venezuela, considering the option, but let's not take the leap here. If all countries follow the same trend as Pomp enthusiastically believes, the price of Bitcoin could indeed go to the moon. So Pomp said over here, reports are surfacing that Venezuela is considering holding Bitcoin and Ethereum in central bank reserves while also using it to pay organizations. Now, one thing I want to bring up about Venezuela, they had, or Maduro had, a lot of gold. And that gold is held by the British. And the British came out and basically said, you're not getting your shit. So, so they're holding his gold hostage. Had he had Bitcoin, had he just traded that gold for Bitcoin, he would have never had to worry about that. Now, not this is a good sign, because in my opinion, I think Maduro is a scumbag. But had he done that, sold that gold, held Bitcoin, be in a better situation, right? So maybe they're doing that, maybe they're not. We've also heard reports that Russia supposedly was buying last year and things like that. So, you know, there's possibilities that countries are doing this, but at this time, it's really all just speculation. Pomp just came out and said reports are surfacing. I mean, did Maduro actually come out and say this? I haven't heard anything like that. I highly doubt it, but if he did, I'd love to see a link. So if anybody knows, let your boy know. So last but not least, number 5, global recession is kind of inevitable. A lot of people were calling for it last year. Didn't happen. Trump's been pumping the market. We all know that. All smart investors know what Trump is doing. He's Republican. Republicans are all about keeping the market solid. And you know what? When he can't pump it anymore, what's going to happen? So what I'm thinking could potentially happen is we get the recession next year, and then Trump comes out and says, look, I can come and save the day. He gets reelected. Market starts to go back up. Once a Democrat comes into office and all these guys like fucking Bernie Sanders and shit like that, I mean, basically what's going to happen is the market's going to die. Okay, so if anybody like Bernie or anybody like that were to come in, market would crash. In my opinion, I think that would be a good sign. I am a previous real estate investor, and I missed the really good prices of 2010, 2011 when I got in, even 12 to 13. Prices are so freaking inflated now. I want to see those prices come back to the mean. That would be great. So the next housing dump is probably going to be a big one. When it's going to be? Probably when Trump is out, because Trump doesn't want to fail. He's not going to let it happen, in my opinion. Does he control everything? No, but so far, he hasn't failed market-wise, so we shall see what happens with the rest of the presidency. So that about wraps it up, guys. What do you think about $2 million Bitcoin prediction from McAfee? Again, interview with McAfee. Not sure exactly when it's going to be now, but it is going to be coming. You're going to see it here on my channel. We're going to ask him all the hard questions. If you have any questions for McAfee, leave it in the comments below. And with that being said, like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Holla at you, boy. Peace.